As long as that doesn't fall down, we should have a solid recording.
Really?
Yes.
Hello!
Hello.
Welcome back to For the Boys Podcast.
Episode 6. 6?
6.
It's the one after 5.
It's the one after 5.
6. Gotta keep the trend going. But yeah, before we get started, I just want to say that the topics that we're going to touch upon are ones that people have been suicided over. I think.
The suicide has occurred.
So to prevent any microwave radiation from entering our brains.
Yeah.
We're gonna
I thought it was for the government to not mind control us or something.
Yeah.
So what's the topic you're going to be talking about tonight, Christian?
Oh boy. This is a big one. This is a really big one. It goes really deep and really wide. Actually, it goes wider than it is deep.
So it's like a chode.
Yeah, it's like a tuna. It's like a can of tuna. So yes. Okay, so I said it was wider.
Yeah.
And that's because we're talking about golf rumors. The infamous golf rumors. In researching, there is no like one definitive like thing. The shallowest one for now is definitely the Erika Blasberg, so I'll go over that one first. So basically, Erika Blasberg was a budding female professional athlete, which is, it's good. Huh? I don't know. Okay. But yeah, she was a professional golfer. She was found with a plastic bag over her head.
Yeah.
And in the toxicology report, after, she died, they found a bunch. She was OD'd. She had overdosed on prescription drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Prescription drugs that were prescribed by a Dr. Hess. So the same Dr. Hess goes toward the body on the fucking golf course, and he basically takes the prescription off of her body and a suicide note off of her body. So that's pretty conspiracy. I was trying to look into this one, and this is why I said it's not really deep, it's more shallow.
Yeah. Because
there's like all these topics, but the only thing I could find was what I just said. People assume that Dr. Hess was like her murderer because he was there before the police got there, and he was actually found guilty for obstructing justice, right?
Yeah.
Because he took the suicide note and the prescription from her. But yeah, and the reason it doesn't go deep is because we didn't see a suicide note. We didn't see it because I don't know. I think he said something about like you have to respect the privacy of the family or whatever. It's like or the embarrassment for the family. It's like, dude, and I couldn't find any pictures. I could just find quotes on what the suicide said. Mm-hmm. Suicide note allegedly said.
Do you have any other quotes?
Any quotes?
Any other quotes?
No, it's just a normal
like a
suicide. Like, sorry, I had to do this, or like, no, it's just normal suicide note
okay.
Stuff. Everyday suicide note.
Yeah, because they have
language.
Isn't there a way you can see? There's obvious what? Resistance if she's being suicided, unless obviously they have a restraint.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're bag over face, you just do one of these.
I think if she was suicided, I think the OD must have came first.
Okay.
Like maybe through an injection, but then they would have seen that in an autopsy.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just ran the toxicology report and they didn't do an autopsy. The whole conspiracy is that she did the double thing because usually you would just take a lot of drugs or do the plastic bag. But I mean, even then the plastic bag is kind of torturous.
Yeah.
So maybe she did that as a insurance or something. That's pretty much all I have on her. She was just a depressed, I guess, athlete.
Yeah.
You know,
Coincidence.
maybe, perhaps we'll put that at a 2 at the conspiracy
Level.
scale.
The conspiracy.
The conspiracy.
Tier list.
Yes, that one's 2.
That's a 2 out of cool.
Out of,
I don't know.
I think 5.
Out of
I think so.
5?
Out of 5.
Okay.
Now we got the big boy one. This is the big one.
Yeah.
This is the one with the most information or the most stuff. It's actually related to this.
The top secret.
Yes. So this is the one about Robert Golf.
Or Richard Golf.
Or Richard Golf, yes. I've seen both. So yeah. Apparently, Robert Golf was a psychic in the 1980s. Yeah, he was involved with some CIA stuff. So it's gotta be good. And the article that I got this from said that I keep forgetting. The thing that he was working on with the CIA, it was him, the CIA, and the FBI were working on something called the glass camera project. So a glass camera is like some theoretical thing, camera that's able to record images without being seen, basically. So you were talking about the world's smallest camera earlier,
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though it's the world's smallest camera, you can still see that.
Yeah, it theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to. It's like a grain of sand.
Yeah.
But if you were to stumble on it,
Yeah, you could see
you'd
it.
notice it's something weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the glass camera is basically like an invisible camera, or a camera that is not there, which is the main interpretation. Because really, the way that you think of it is like just an invisible camera, that'd be physically impossible, right? Because we don't have like invisibility cloaks, and even if we did, physics says that we would be blind if we wore one.
Okay.
So if you had an invisibility cloak, you wouldn't be able to see because of something about light.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. So the interpretation is that Robert Golf was working with the CIA for the glass camera project, and the way that they actually did the glass cameras were to basically tap into people, like agents, and the agents would be able to see something, and the psychic could read their fucking thoughts and be able to describe exactly what they're seeing. So the whole thing is like a psychic is in a room, right? And then you'd have like an agent out in the field. And then, if the agent is like in somewhere like dangerous, or they wouldn't be able to go back to like report easily, the psychic could just tap into exactly what they're seeing and be able to see what they're seeing.
Okay.
So it was either that's one interpretation, or the other one is the opposite, where like the person in the field could literally just like transmit their visual signals to a psychic or to the CIA using some, I don't know, psychic powers or whatever. But yeah, that's the interpretation there. Apparently, like the whole reason this is a conspiracy is that Robert Golf was well known, but if you try to look him up, you can barely find anything about him. Another thing that I found related to that, which I think could tie in, is the remote viewing experiments. This paper basically describes the CIA's interests, or not really the CIA, some government group, but in the Department of Defense. The interest to have a psychic describe a target while not being near the target or not seeing the target. So basically what they would have the psychics do, or just participants do, because they weren't psychics, what they would have them do is sit down in a room with an interviewer or just some other guy, and the interviewer would like give them a coordinate or a location, and then the participant would go and like imagine or like go and fucking see basically what's there without leaving the room. Participants were able to, I think, 85% of the time describe accurately what was there. They would observe psychics doing remote viewing. They would take courses in remote viewing, and they would like frequently practice remote viewing.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so they'd give them like coordinates. They wouldn't say, "This place is
Yeah.
the rainforest."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they wouldn't say.
They wouldn't say anything like that, and
Just
they would just
coordinates.
describe it. So,
Not like that. It's
well, I mean, not like that said, but you know, they give you something that will correlate enough to where you can't be like, that's kind of general,
yeah.
or they
Yeah.
would generalize.
No,
It'd
would
be
just
specific.
Huh?
It'd be something specific.
It would sometimes be something specific.
Okay.
I was looking at it, and one of the participants described the edge of a windowsill. It would be something like that. And then another one described an entire like map, an entire field. So like, you know, one person did the windowsill, and another person described like a river, and then like an industrial sort of area, and then like a wooded area. And the picture was literally like almost exactly that. Literally like a picture of a river and like some buildings and like a flat grass area over there. The research itself was done 1979 to 1983. So that's like 4 years. 4 years of research on this. And then in this document, they actually describe interest in the research, like 5 years. In 1974, interest since 1974. And then the latest date on this document is actually right here. It's the 14th of June, 1984. So basically 10 years.
Yeah.
They were like trying to do all this shit.
Yeah.
So I think they ended up doing a bunch of projects. Actually, they did 200 operational missions with remote viewing. And let's see here. Find $235,000 was given to them, not 285. There you go. Approximately 50% of the 700 missions produced usable intelligence. 50% of them. And then over 85% of them have produced accurate target information. So they were actually, I think they were regular agents, because they had like in the preliminaries, they would have like actual psychics do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it with agents that they trained, and that's the data from here. So that's what they used there.
How does it extend to like us in a way? Say like they can tap into my head
Mm-hmm.
and see you,
Yeah.
and we're talking, and they see that, and they know we're talking.
Yeah.
I don't know if they get like an audio, but they get the visual.
Mm-hmm. I think the glass camera project was, I'm pretty sure, with all this information, that the glass camera project was most likely an extension of the remote viewing project. Yeah. So not only were they able to train people to see remotely, but also hear remotely.
Okay.
And maybe even interact. But who knows? In here, they were actually describing, because we were talking about psychics.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what technology do you need for a psychic? None. Right? It's all in their head. Literally. But they actually spent a lot of this money, a lot of the money that they were given on R&D, research and development of technologies. So it kind of makes you think what kind of technologies they were using to either train or help implement remote viewing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a thing. A footnote there. Yeah, that was my whole presentation.
That's very epic, my friend. Very nice.
Thank you. I heard you also have the presentation.
Also have a less constructed presentation on the lovely